All right, man. Those of you who are members of the FBA or ADOS movement, listen, deal with it. A Jamaican immigrant did create hip hop. All right? That's just history. That's just facts. Deal with it. See, because I guess the reason why I'm saying this is because you have a lot of so-called black people on YouTube that's debating who really created the genre of hip hop. Did Jamaicans create the genre of hip hop? Did so-called African Americans create the genre of hip hop? And all this came from out of people responding to what rapper Busta Rhymes stated in an interview. Because in the interview, Busta Rhymes stated that hip hop came out of Jamaica. And also there was an interview in which rapper and producer Pete Rock, legendary rapper Pete Rock, he stated that hip hop came out of Jamaica, and both of them are of Jamaican descent. Now, both are wrong when they said that hip hop came from. No, FBA did not create hip hop. Tampa Supreme, you guys got to deal with that shit. Okay, now I'll say Busta Rhymes and Pete Rock were both incorrect when they said that the genre of hip hop came from Jamaica, as far as it came from the island of Jamaica. No, hip hop music and hip hop culture, right? Of course, came from the United States by way of New York City, specifically in, the South Bronx, right? The Bronx section of New York City. All right. And if you really want to break it down, what hip hop is, because people don't understand, is the hip hop is not just music, it's a culture that's a combination of MCing, b-boying, aka breakdancing, graffiti, and fashion. Right? And the thing is that when it comes, and those four things combined together is what creates hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Degenerate Sharingan. Thank you. It's not hard. It's not hard. It's not hard to explain it, right? Thank you. It's not hard to explain it. So these four combinations came together, like I said, MCing, DJing, b-boying, and art such as graffiti and fashion, right? You combine them together and you got hip hop culture. And the thing is that when it comes to who created the culture, it was really a whole consortium of people that was involved in creating that whole culture, as far as the MCing is concerned, the rapping to the beat is concerned, as far as scratching the turntables is concerned, as far as dancing, aka b-boying, as far as the fashion and the graffiti is concerned. It was a whole consortium of people that was involved, and these consortium people, who specifically mainly came from the Bronx section of New York City, were of different ethnicities. Because if see me, I'm from New York, so of course I know more than most of y'all that the way New York City is, especially you talk about places like the Bronx, it consists of many different ethnicities of people. You have people, you have the quote unquote, who you call the ADOS individuals that live out there, that live in the same neighborhoods, as well as those who are of West Indian descent, as well as those who are of Latino descent. And people within all these groups live in the same neighborhoods, grew up in the same struggle, went to the same schools together, and came together and formed the culture of hip hop. But historically speaking, take away your bias and just go by what the historians say, because there have been historians who dig in the crates did the investigation and actually studied the history of the culture and the genre of hip hop, the main mastermind of the genre is a Jamaican immigrant. Okay? Yeah, I know the history of hip hop. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. And the like I said, the main mastermind of the genre of hip hop was a Jamaican immigrant by the name of Kool Herc. He was the main mastermind. When it comes to the hip hop pioneers, and when it comes to legendary hip hop rappers, no matter if they're of Caribbean descent or if they're of ADOS descent, they will all go back and say the main mastermind, the main pioneer of the genre that we now call hip hop was created by Kool Herc. A Jamaican immigrant. Do your history. That's it. See, the thing is that DJ Kool Herc, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with admitting that. It's just truth. Now, me saying that, am I saying that those who are African Americans did not have any influence as far as the foundation of hip hop? No, I'm not saying that. Okay? I'm not saying that. Of course, you have African Americans that had a role in the creation of the genre. But what I'm saying is that the main mastermind of the genre was a Jamaican immigrant. But if you want to talk about hip hop pioneers, of course you had your African Americans and your Latinos and people of other who are descendants of other West Indian countries. All right? But the main mastermind of the genre is a Jamaican immigrant. You said Kool Moe Dee created MCing. Okay, but that's one part of hip hop. But my thing is, what I'm asking is, what I'm talking about is the mastermind of the entire genre. Because remember, MCing is not the only ingredient that forms hip hop as a culture. But the thing is, what a lot of people online is doing, as far as arguing who created hip hop, they doing what the flat earthers did with when it comes to whether or not the earth is flat or round. What they're doing is they're trying to go against an actual fact and try to combat that with unproven facts. Well, I won't even say unproven facts because that's like a sort of an oxymoron with just unproven statements. When you try to take away something that has been proven historically, what you're doing now is promoting a lying narrative, which is no different than what lies of other races have done. And this is what I see this conversation as far as who created hip hop is going. It's no different from the whole flat earth argument, where you got motherfuckers that think that the earth is flat but have no real data to back it up, when it's been proven for Lord knows how many centuries that the earth is a fucking globe, and there's actual real data to back that up. But then you got a group of people with no real data to back up their claims, but yet they're going to come and say the earth is flat. This, people who want to say that Kool Herc was not the mastermind of the creation of hip hop, they basically act like the flat earthers now. You know? Phew. I didn't say Jamaicans with an S. I said a Jamaican immigrant created hip hop. Kool Herc. This is just history. Unless, listen, like I said, unless if you guys have, if those who disagree with me have actual, have undisputed evidence to state that someone else outside of DJ Kool Herc was the main mastermind of the genre of hip hop, then you have a point. Oh, nah, I gotta say that, man. Kevin Kelly, man, I gotta say that. You know, I have to say that a Jamaican immigrant created hip hop. Deal with it. Deal with it. This is actual history. Deal with it. All right. Because we're not going to allow in hip hop, man. We're not going to allow in hip hop culture and try to take away credit from DJ Kool Herc. Because DJ Kool Herc served his life to use hip hop as a way to get a lot of people within that generation to stay out of trouble and stay out of crime. He done so much for the people living in the inner cities of New York City and other cities. He gave his life to save people, to save other people's lives. He gave his life by creating a genre to help save other people, to keep other people away from gangs and crime, and utilize this culture of hip hop to have fun, to party together, instead of fighting and killing each other. And you got a bunch of motherfuckers on the internet that want to take that away from him just because, you know, they have this belief that, you know, West Indians is trying to take away their credit of what they present to society, when that's not true. Nah, get the fuck out of here, man. You know what I'm saying? Nah. Kool Herc, a Jamaican immigrant, was the main mastermind behind the creation of hip hop. Deal with it. You know, yeah. But DC, that's correct. That's correct. That's correct. Now, did African Americans have a profound influence on the creation of hip hop? Of course they did. Like I said, African Americans wasn't involved in the creation of hip hop also, because once again, when it comes to who created hip hop, it wasn't just one person; it was a whole collective of people. And once again, like I said before, if you understand the demographics of New York City, you understand that people of many different ethnic groups live in New York City. And since hip hop came out of New York City, it was created by a whole group of people of many different ethnicities: African Americans, Jamaican Americans, Bayesian Americans, Puerto Rican Americans. Yes. And to give African Americans their credit, a lot of the early hip hop beats was sampled by James Brown beats. Thus, of course, once again, African Americans have a supreme influence on hip hop. And let's just keep it real. I'm not going to take anything away from African Americans as far as who are some of the most legendary MCs in the history of hip hop. When you talk about people like Rakim, people like my favorite rapper, Nas, when you talk about people like Big Daddy Kane, when you talk about people like CL Smooth, who are of those African American descent, yeah, they have a supreme influence in not only the creation of hip hop, but also the advancement and the progress of the art form. But to sit there and take away credit from Kool Herc, nah, I ain't gonna let y'all do that. Y'all not gonna take away credit from Kool Herc. Nah. History is not even going to let you motherfuckers do that shit. Okay? History is not going to let you do that shit. So you could have your alternative facts and alternative history all you want. But proven facts and proven history has established that the main mastermind behind the art form of hip hop was a Jamaican immigrant. That's it. Okay? Kool Herc didn't. It was Kool Herc was a Jamaican immigrant. And listen, I'm not no Jamaican. I'm not no Jamaican. So I have no reason to even place any bias on this. I'm just saying this is history. We cannot sit there and go against what history have proven. Now, if Kool Herc, yes, Degenerate Shannigan, Kool Herc was influenced by James Brown. Yes, that is absolutely the case. Yes. And once again, some of the earliest hip hop beats were James Brown beats. And also jazz beats. And of course, jazz was created by African Americans. And of course, James Brown is an African American. And you had other hip hop pioneers, which were African American. So if you talk about who pioneered hip hop, it was a whole consortium of people. You know, I'm not going to say Jamaicans created hip hop. But it was a Jamaican immigrant who was the main mastermind of the genre. Let's not take away what Kool Herc did. Kool Herc, DJ Kool Herc, was the main mastermind of the creation of the genre and culture that we now call hip hop. But was he the only creator? No. What's up, Toya? What's up, Toya? So, yeah. But was he the only creator? No. He was like the main mastermind, though. But once again, this conversation of who created hip hop, the way it's going online, it's sort of where this flat earth bullshit is going. Where people would rather rely on alternative unproven facts than actual proven facts. Because they just somehow want to go against the grain because their own bias do not want them to acknowledge what history have already proven. That's what it is. What you got, those who are part of, who consider themselves to be members of the FBA movement and the ADOS movement, a lot of them have this notion that other groups of so-called black people are trying to steal or benefiting off of what they've established and are trying to. I've even heard people who are members of this movement claim that other groups of so-called black people are trying to replace them and are trying to steal their glory. And I believe with that way of thinking, they bring that to the who created hip hop conversation and try to remove DJ Kool Herc from history. You can't do that. You can't do that. A Jamaican immigrant was the main mastermind of hip hop. Deal with it. I'm not going to say that hip hop came from the island of Jamaica. Hip hop was born in America, right? Hip hop was born in New York City, but it was born mainly by a Jamaican immigrant that moved to New York City. And yes, this Jamaican immigrant that moved to New York City was very much influenced by African Americans. That is true. I'm not going to sit there and be biased and say that that's not true. It was true. And I guess with that influence, he helped create hip hop. But the fact of the matter is, a Jamaican immigrant created hip hop. Deal with it, motherfucker. Yeah. People say, oh, word? People say Biggie should be denounced because he is Jamaican. Yo, it's like, the thing is, it's like, okay, I'm not against. Okay, the thing is I have with the FBA and ADOS movements is that those two are movements that could create something special for Black Americans, but it's being sidetracked because a lot of people who advocate for those two movements focus more on going against other groups of Blacks instead of actually utilizing that movement to get reparations for Black Americans. Because they go as far as to say, because people who are members of those movements go as far as to say dumb shit. Like what you see right here. You said some FBA people say Biggie should be denounced because he is Jamaican. Oh, man. All right. Yeah. But once again, a Jamaican immigrant created hip hop. Deal with it.